Paolo, so good to see you. Third term's the charm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because last time we had you right, I think it was the morning of you dropped the big news of the rebrand, which looks good. Very smooth looking rebrand. The expansion into the 4 new business units, AI, sort of kind of looking at different AI solutions, kind of creating your own standards for that industry. I mean, a wide range of new things. So we can start there, and then we can get into a lot of other juicy topics. So maybe just walk us through sort of the strategic vision. Obviously, people know Tether is making a lot of money, in part thanks to you as CEO doing a good job, I imagine. What motivated the firm specifically to expand its focus into these areas at this particular point in time?
Well, so Tether is celebrating this year, in 2024, the 10-year anniversary. And Tether had a simple idea in 2014 that was putting $1 on a blockchain that, if you think about it, grew over the last few years immensely due to the fact that actually USDT does much more than being a simple dollar on a blockchain used for cryptocurrency trading. USDT has been adopted as the digital dollar for all emerging markets in developing countries. It's a digital dollar that removes the unnecessary intermediaries, right? So think about Philippines. Philippines has a GDP of, as part of the GDP, Philippines has $33 billion that are due to remittances. That is an incredibly high amount. And so imagine now few companies, the classic ones that until today they managed remittances, they're making an enormous amount of money just to move, a couple of lines in a ledger, basically, right? They're making 10, 15, 20% out of $33 billion just for Philippines. Imagine all the other countries. Imagine how influential and impactful is are these fees across the world that are taken out from intermediaries when they're mostly unnecessary. And so they're mostly unnecessary because, as USDT or in general, all these stable coins are proving, you can do a better job using blockchain technology, and you have cheaper transactions, fastest transactions with a higher degree of transparency, by the way, because you everything is on chain. And so we started thinking about this wider concept of disintermediation. So what if disintermediation actually can be applied not just to finance, but also to other areas? And so we started with communications, telecommunications. And so that's why we created hole punching Kit. So Kit simply is disintermediating chats, is disintermediating voice and the video calls and just communication. And we also started investing in other areas like artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence also now is in the hands of basically 3 companies, Google, Microsoft, and Amazon. And we have seen how AI, that is a newborn technology basically, because until 2 years ago, no one knew about ChatGPT. Today, we are seeing how AI is used for political reasons and to spread certain parts of propaganda. And no matter what you think about the specific propaganda, that is something that is fairly cringe and worrisome because, might end up badly. And so we started thinking, we did it, or we are doing it with finance, we are thinking to do it, or we are building this concept of disintermediation for communications. Why we are not doing it also with AI? We are not investing in AI models that can be built, of course, on large-scale computing centers, but also can be run locally. So optimize models for local computers to run on phones, to run on smaller devices, right? So then we started, then we expanded to education. So education, we have seen, I'm Italian, as you well know, and Italy was completely devastated by the pandemic. For 1 year, the first year of the pandemic, students from, kids, university students, college students, they could not learn anything because everyone was unprepared. They didn't have any communication tools in order to follow classes. And so, again, the problem of education, you need teachers, you need really well-formed teachers. They are one of the most important jobs in the world because they are building the future of humanity. But at the same time, feels like education is relying on outdated social concepts and is not resilient to catastrophes. And so we started investing in this in this field of education to build edutech platforms that are leveraging the peer-to-peer technology like Holepunch and Kit in order to put in communication teachers and students, and also creating an economy around it. So not education in terms of, I will teach you about blockchain. I think that now with modern edutech platforms, you can learn about how to be the best plumber, how to be, and I'm Italian, so I have to say I'm, how to be the best Mario, and or Luigi, or be the best electrician, or be the best developer, and or any other job you want. And the other concept. So on one side we have the concept of disintermediation, and on the other side we had this concept that no one actually is thinking about. And I believe that Tether is the first company that actually is saying the hidden parts aloud, that is built for the apocalypse. That is quite a bold thing to say, right? So if you go in marketing schools, they will always teach you, be always positive, right? So never say bad words. But I'm being a developer and a technologist, and being all that of all my life, and being having traveled a lot, and had many experiences in my life, and I had to deal with many crazy projects during my life. I always had this concept in mind that everyone is building for the best case scenario. So you build things that work only if everyone is at peace and everyone is happy with each other, or there is no huge natural catastrophe, or there is no pandemic, for example, right? Everything works perfectly in that scenario. All our communication tools, all our money systems work perfectly if there is no problem in the world. Education works perfectly if there is no problem in the world, and so on. But what if we are going towards a future where there will be problems? There could be.
Sure.
So that's basically what we are building.
So there's two sort of buckets here. If you think about the four new divisions into which the company has broken up or sort of divided itself, you have a few components that maybe seem more tangent or more peripheral, but similar to crypto, whether it's in the topic of disintermediation or something like AI, obviously, where there's a few overlaps. So Tether Finance, Tether Power, all somewhat crypto related. But then there's this other element that's maybe not necessarily peripheral crypto tech initiatives. There's this other element of building to address the horsemen of the apocalypse, whether it's in some ways connected to the first bucket, the downside of AI, or these other things that maybe have nothing to do with crypto, like a potential future where we can't educate people properly, where there's propaganda that we can't address or mediate properly, or some other things, maybe an energy crisis. That kind of opens up the door then potentially to a whole host of different things. I guess two questions from there. How do you then, obviously it's still a very competitive market from a stablecoin perspective. How do you ensure your edge and focus whilst trying to achieve some of these lofty ambitions?
Well, because this is all this expansion that we are doing is actually following our realization and our work that on a daily basis we put on our main product, that is USDT, our main stablecoin. We, differently than all the other stablecoin issuers, we consider ourselves the stable coin for the last mile, for the unbanked. Now everyone is trying to say the same thing and copy our pitch deck. But
that's why you have to rebrand. You got to stay 1 foot ahead of them.
Yes, exactly. But the beauty is that for us, it's not just a marketing play. It's our life, right? So, for example, today I'm calling you from Bhutan because it's a country that could leverage enormously new technology. They are receiving remittances. So we are exploring. We are traveling around because we in developing countries, because we want to understand what people need. And so this realization, all this experience that we had is giving us the edge. It's giving us the edge on the stablecoin side. We have, I think, the best infrastructure for the stablecoin. We have an amazing custodian, Cantor Fitzgerald, that was also spoke publicly. We have great partnerships like Telegram. Telegram has 1 billion active users. So we can, and this is about the people, right? So it's not onboarding yet another financial institution and yet another financial institution. We have many banks. We have strong custodians. We have high security. We have a portfolio that has $6 billion in excess equity on top of the 100% reserves that we have to have. So we have all these things. But we are not trying to reinvent banking, right? So we are not trying to become a bank and be a banker, a group of bankers. Humanity try that and saw how things can turn south. We have seen in 2023 how 3 banks in the US failed. Credit Suisse failed in Switzerland, and in 2024 also another US bank failed. So we understand how the financial system has to be reformed, but has to start back from people. And that's why we are the stable coin for the people. And that's why we keep growing despite, there is more competition, yet our market cap keeps growing. Because we understand what people need. It's not like we are trying, I feel like our competition is trying to sell a bucket of ice to an Eskimo, while actually we are focusing on what a person that doesn't care about crypto, Web3, and so on, that is 99.99% of the population in the world actually needs.
So what does that sort of business development outreach look like for a company that in one aspect is trying to do many of these different things, and another aspect is trying to spur adoption of a stablecoin to the masses? Does this Tether 2.0 playbook that you're describing, what does it look like, and how does it look differently from, I imagine, the Tether 2.0 playbook 2013, 2014, 2015, pitching market makers, exchanges? That's a different Tether. That was a different era. You're not pitching those same folks. Who are you pitching now, and what does it look like? You mentioned these different governments. I imagine now there's many different playbooks because of the sort of scope, but if you could sort of distill it down for us.
Yeah, so, well, compared to the past, we have an important realization of what humanity needs and what, where the world is going. 2014, when we started, we were like, really tiny company. And we started from crypto and the simple crypto needs of having a digital dollar to make crypto trading settlements fast. But today, Tether USDT has more than 300 million users globally, between centralized and exchanges and all the PSPs and blockchains. So the way USDT has been used and is being used has changed. And not just because we couldn't predict everything, by the way. It's not like in 2014 we had already this idea of we know exactly where we will be in 20 years and how USDT will be used in 10, 20 years from now. No, actually, if you create a simple product that people understand and people need, they will use it, right? They will always find ways to use it and to use it to solve their own problems. And that's what happened, right? So until 2022, we never had a marketing team. And yet you can see Argentina and Brazil that are heavily permeated by USDT. Argentina and Brazil, their Ministry of Economy, both of them released independent papers saying that, independent research saying that USDT accounts for 85% or more of the total digital asset volume in their country. And we achieved that without even having a marketing team. That speaks about the product, right? If you create a product that is simple, that you don't need to be a rocket scientist to use it, then people will use it. So that's, I believe, the beauty of our story. But I think it would be a mistake to think about that what we are doing on the communication side, for example, or the education side, is actually decoupled from the stablecoin. If you have money in your pocket, how you send money is really tied to communication. So look at what we have achieved with Telegram. Telegram and Tether partnership is great because we unified the most common tool that people use the two most common tools that people use in their day-to-day lives, communication and money. So what we are doing with Hole Punch and Kit is also to expand and build on that concept where we need communication as resilient as we have money now with Bitcoin and USDT. So if we achieve the level of resiliency that we achieve with finance, with USDT and Bitcoin, but we bring it to finance and we bring it to communications and to software development, and we combine the two things together, we are going to build a massive industry where on one side you can build software, you can build communication tools, you can build interaction, social interaction through software, through applications for people, not for geeks, but for people. And then on the other side, you have the best form of money, the fastest and cheapest to transact with form of money. And the same thing you can apply to education. If you create a platform for education that unifies, that put together teachers and students, they will need a way to transact anyway, right? It's all part of the same story, if you think about it. So we are not diluting our stablecoin part. We are actually adding and creating an ecosystem around our stablecoin, around the use cases of our stablecoin.
So when you think about the road to 1 trillion market cap Tether, what does that look like? What are the major tailwinds behind the growth or contributors to the growth? Is it sort of adoption in sort of developing emerging markets? Walk us through it.
I will say something that might seem a little bit counterintuitive, but there is the realization at Tether that when it comes to USDT, the growth of USDT is directly proportional to the unfold of socio-economic factors in the world. So in a way, simply put, the success of Tether, unfortunately, is directly proportional to the issues that we are seeing on a daily basis, new issues that we are seeing on a daily basis in the world. More countries have difficulties when it comes to finance. More national currencies are devaluating. And so the common, and that is a realization that we had, right? So we are still people. We think, okay, yes, we have success. We make good money. But on the other side, why we are making good money is because something is not working somewhere else, right? The reason why...
Also, rates are high.
Yes, but rates are high because something's not working, right? So
fair enough.
That's the point, right? So that's what I'm saying. We are still human beings. So sometimes you should look at your success, of course, but you should always look at why you get that success. And of course, we are making good money, but we were happy people even when we were making 1/10 of that. So that's why we are also investing in things like biotech, because we believe that we have to give back and we have to contribute to I think society in with the good luck that we had, because no one could predict these high rates, right? So and honestly, I don't think they will decrease significantly in the future. And someone is already talking about potential other hikes because inflation is here to stay. So I think the world, if there is a common, on one side, we are seeing countries that are a group of countries that want to de-dollarize themselves. But the reality that is that there are hundreds of millions of people that are desperately trying to access the dollar. So what actually USDT is doing is at service of the US dollar, improving the dollar hegemony when you have China and when you have all these countries that are selling T-bills, potentially even Japan, and now is in a condition to have to sell T-bills because of their monetary issues. And on the other side, Tether is, and not many know this, but Tether is actually the third biggest buyer of 3 months T-bills in the world. So first is UK, second is Cayman, and third is Tether.
I think the fact you shared when we tried to record a few weeks ago, that I mean really is mind-boggling. The fact that you guys hold, I think, more than Australia, or the equivalent of Australia,
more than Germany.
So this is another interesting question. If we sort of think back onto where we are and how far it is probably from either of us thought it would be several years ago, to what extent, given Tether's position in the sort of in government debt capital markets, how does that impact sort of the day-to-day? Obviously, I think it's obvious that it's quite a bit, right? But this is something that I don't think a lot of people talk about. In one sense, Tether's a tech company. In another sense, it's a crypto company. But it's also this major player in government debt markets, in the U.S. Treasury bond market. How does that impact your thinking, your operations, and the extent to which the firm needs to sort of have a position on FOMC, on where the Fed's going, where rates going, where inflation's going, where you sort of put that in your mind, target risk-free rate? How much is macro sort of, a topic that's sort of underpinning everything that's happening at this firm?
Well, everything that we do and we talk about can only be done if we protect and we are extremely careful with management of the reserves of USDT. So the team, we have an internal team that is an amazing team, right? That is managing our reserves, and is the team that focuses on looking at how, the economics data. So that's also why we are investing predominantly in 3 months T-bill. Well, the portfolio is 90 days or lower in investment, because you don't want to be in a situation where, we have seen how Silicon Valley Bank blew up because they were investing in 10 to 20, 30 years obligations, bonds. So the only and the most easy thing that you could do is just to invest in short-term T-bills. And so of course, we are planning hedging techniques. We have overnight reverse repos in the tens of billions, right, to make sure that there is always liquidity available to us to redeem any sort of amount of money that comes to us on a daily basis. So first of all, short-term T-bills is the name of the game, hedging the curve, and overnight reverse repos. And on top of that, we keep $6 billion in additional equity, because we understand that there is one thing that we cannot do, is to lose money. So Tether has always to be 100% backed. We need to be in a situation where, to the last dime, everyone that comes to us, we will give back the money. Then, if with that money, right, so if we have $110 billion under management, and the world goes back to the Weimar Republic, and with one wheelbarrow of in US dollars,
which is what you're almost preparing for, Paolo.
But that I'm just preparing. I'm just a medium of a transport layer, and I just need to protect, the people that are using us with also other tools like Tether Gold. We created Tether Gold 5 years ago. And I think till today is heavily underused. But gold is, if you look at the central banks today, they are printing money on one side and they're buying gold on the other side. So it means that not even the central banks believe that their money is good. They're buying gold because they don't believe in their money. They believe that something will happen. We created Tether Gold exactly for that, because we believe that eventually people will opt out. And not everyone understands Bitcoin. I'm a Bitcoiner. I believe that Bitcoin is a superior form of money, but not everyone in the world is ready for Bitcoin. Outside of our congregation in crypto, not everyone is ready for Bitcoin. So gold is the asset, and not many know how gold has behaved all throughout the human history, right? So Cicero in 1913, Cicero 2,000 years ago said that with 1 ounce of gold, you could buy a fine vest and a nice pair of shoes. And today, with $2,000 something, you can buy a good vest, a nice suit, and a nice pair of shoes. And in 1913, when the Fed was created, the ratio between 1 ounce of gold and the barrels of oil was 27-1. If you look at it today, is pretty much the same. So gold, even since 2,000 years, but also since 100 years, maintain its purchasing power compared to all other goods that we use in a day-to-day basis. So it means that, to me, every single financial reset in human history went through gold, and also gold is the thing that still today is the refugee, is the asset that everyone holds when things are going to unfold. That's why I think that in the next years, we are going to see a huge adoption of Tether Gold.
Yes, I remember that announcement when it happened. It feels like just yesterday. So much time has passed. Let's maybe go back to artificial intelligence for a second. You mentioned that AI is poised to revolutionize many facets of our lives. How do you see Tether contributing to this revolution? And what about it excites you and worries you?
Let's start from the worrying part, because I think that the worrying part is the easiest to understand. Almost everyone is talking about it. I think the impact on society will be immense. It will be much bigger than the Industrial Revolution. Many jobs will be replaced by AI, unfortunately. I consider myself still, although I code much less now, a really good developer. I build so many things in my life. And yet I think that AI, in 5 years, AI will be able to write code as good as me. And that is, I think, an important realization for a person, because you want to know, or you want to understand, you want to prepare for your future. And I think not many people in the world, although everyone is talking about the concerns around AI, not everyone is preparing to remain relevant. I'm sorry to say this in this way, but it's I think it's the truth. And people should understand that this technology really well. Should understand it, not in a way, not to fear it, but to how they can embrace it and improve their skill set and become indispensable. So that is what will be in the future. And this will create society concerns, like we are talking about. Different countries are already talking about the need of a universal income, right? So what if AI will be so perfect that people will not have jobs, because all the jobs will be done by robots and AI? And you can see, by the way, Figure.ai released a video showcasing one of their humanoid robots with ChatGPT that doing the dishes, doing the dishes. on the other side, you have Optimus from that built by Tesla. You have Boston Dynamics. Imagine and this is today. Imagine 5 years. 5 years ago, this stuff was not existing. Figure.ai was not there. Optimus was not there. Boston Dynamics was really slow and not really dynamic in a way. So today it's crazy. And imagine in 5 years, in 10 years. So AI paired with robots will become a threat to society. And how we try to survive to that is becoming more and more important. Maybe what I'm saying will never happen, and maybe I'm just exaggerating. Maybe I will be wrong, and I hope that I will be wrong. But what if I will not be wrong? What if many people that think like me will not be wrong? So how we prepare to that, how we start building things that can help humans to remain relevant, and how we can ensure that AI is not going to be used in the nastiest way is extremely relevant. And so why Tether is doing this is because if you think about it, Bitcoin is exactly that with money, right? Bitcoin has started this concept of being in control of your own wealth, be your own bank, be free of transact, be free of communicate. That is the ethos around Bitcoin. And when it comes to AI is, if you look at the positive sides of AI is a great thing. It allows people to enhance their intelligence. There are so many things we don't understand in physics, in math, and in all sorts of sciences, in biology, in the medical aspect that could be vastly improved using AI. And humans need access to that, but need to have access that is peer-to-peer, need to have access that is private. So we need to, and Tether is really focused on it, we need to build technology that is, we need to build AI that is localized, that learns from people, learns from the world, but also allows each one of us to use it in a form that remains private and allows us to keep our most intimate secrets for us, right? More intimate desires for us. And that's the scare that we should have for ChatGPT. No one was uploading their medical bills on Facebook. So we had already social media that was creating some concerns around privacy. But now people were not uploading their medical bills there. But now people are uploading medical bills on ChatGPT to get a second opinion. So that should never happen. We should have a local AI assistant, our Jarvis, that helps us. And so that's how we can empower humans to survive to the risk of centralized AI.
So what's the long-term vision when you think of Tether's AI division in the next 5 to 10 years? 5 years maybe, what impact are you hoping it will have on the industry and society at large? Is it maybe, creating some sort of program that helps mediate these, the job element that you're describing? Is it sort of empowering people in the age of AI? What sort of impact do you see it having?
So we want to be the counter narrative of AI, where we can create tools from education, from communication, from just personal assistant. Imagine a personal assistant imagine if you had an AI that could go through all your emails, all your chats, all your Telegram chats, whatever, that can become the best helper for you. But
sounds great.
Exactly. But that data remains exactly where it is, right? On your device, on your computer, right? So that is the holy grail of technology. That is the holy grail of AI, because that is how you can actually ensure that each one of us will remain his unique himself. Because if we give everything to the centralized AI, we are diluting ourselves. While if instead you have the best Frank AI that is representing you, it's still controlled by you, it's still you, it's all your best information you can still decide to keep everything, like to all that AI created and has learned from you close to your chest. Or you can create a service like the Frank assistant for the world, but still your stuff is still your data that you keep for yourself. You are not going to dilute yourself. So, and that I connect this. So the concept of non-diluting your human being and your uniqueness is connected to one of the latest investments that we made that in biotech is called BlackRock Neurotech. That doesn't have anything to do with BlackRock, but is, I think, a great investment because they are actually much more advanced than Neuralink. They have 40 patients installed compared to one of Neuralink. These guys they proved already that they could read 90 characters per minute from a human brain, right? Or they could do, text, a thought to text or thought to speech. They were able to have a guy that was tetraplegic to drive again. So these guys have been around since 19 years. So they are actually the best scientists that know how to do BCI, so brain-computer interfaces. So we acquired the majority of that company because I believe that our AI investment are the philosophy that we have in maintaining the uniqueness of each human is really important. Also applied to a technology that is going to be also in a way, no pun intended, by mind-blowing in the future, because no matter what, no matter how you see it, in 20, 30 years is possible. Maybe we'll take more time. Maybe we'll take even less time. It's possible that many humans will have a brain implant, just because today, even if you use the AI today, if you have a thought in your mind and you think to something, your idea, you have to type that idea to a computer in a language or in a programming language. So that idea is being compressed, it lose information, lose power, and then we get a visual feedback from the computer. That is completely inefficient. So imagine if you could have an AI directly in your brain.
Just directly.
Exactly, zero latency. But how we can ensure that we have the technology to not have an API? I don't want my brain to have an API to ChatGPT. I want my computer, my brain actually to have an internal computer that can compute things, can make people much more intelligent, because I think that that's the only way to solve the biggest problems of physics and medicine and humanity. Having the combination of our creativity with the power of artificial intelligence. But that's why we are preparing this really long journey. We don't care about making quick bucks tomorrow with AI. It's a really long journey with the evolution of humanity. This new branch of Tether is called Tether Able.
This is something that is almost verging on into the territory of science fiction, or at least the way we thought science fiction was 10 years ago, becoming closer to reality. It's pretty insane. Let's sort of close the conversation going back to the origin or the core, right? Stable coins in that industry. One thing that we've been talking about on the show frequently is this idea, it's not really an idea, it's something I kind of made up, but there might be some truth to it, which is how we're maybe entering a third phase of sort of crypto derivative collateral. We think back to 2018, we went from Bitcoin to stable coins. Maybe we're entering a new stage where it's going to be stable coins and these new fangled money market like tokens, whatever you want to describe them, being accepted as collateral. How do you see sort of, I guess, that corner of the market shaping up? Do you think that collateral is sort of going to change? And what will the role of stable coins versus tokenized bonds versus RWAs be in crypto capital markets moving forward?
So there's a little bit to unpack there. So first of all, I think I'm a big believer in real world assets. Also, Tether is going to launch soon, in the next 3-4 months, a platform. I think probably the best tokenization platform in the world. We have 10 years of experience with that.
Well, Tether is a USDT is a real world asset.
Exactly. But we want to bring our technology to be available to everyone. So we are building a non-custodial platform where you can tokenize any sort of asset, and is supporting multiple blockchains. And that is, I think, our culmination of all the technology we built in the last 10 years. But so I really like that aspect. I think that in the next few years, we are going to see $10 trillion to $20 trillion tokenized on blockchain. So no doubts about that. Now, there is a fundamental difference between tokenized bonds or T-bills and the stablecoin. The stablecoin has the point of a stablecoin is to give you back always the underlying fiat currency or commodity that it represents. So, you can have a tokenized 30 years T-bill, but you might, unlikely you would like to have that in as the collateral of a stable coin, just because who knows what will happen in the next 30 years, right? So the point of a stable coin is whatever happens, you need to be able to get out your underlying money. So, and also the issue, and I discussed this at length, right? One of the advantages of the tokenized bonds or tokenized T-bills is that they offer you an interest. And of course, that's great, right? So people make more money. But point being is that is, to me, called a security. So if that's exactly why Tether is not giving an interest of USDT, is because it would become a security. And also, I discussed also with plenty of projects that are offering this type of stable coin, but with a yield and so on. To me, point being is that if you look at Argentina or Brazil or many emerging markets, right, in Africa, in Asia, the intraday volatility of their national currency is more than 4%. So it's not giving them, they have much bigger problem than 4% per year. Right? These guys, in some cases, they have been their national currency was devaluing more than 4% per day or maximum per week. So my concept is, and I said it in a bold way, I don't think stable coins are for Americans, for North Americans, or for Europeans, because Europeans and North Americans don't need that. They have already the best banking. They have banking apps. They can buy whatever they want in their lives. There is no point for them in giving them something that is actually not superior to what they have already. But there are 7 billion people in the world that really need that. And they are desperate to get a dollar, and because it's much better than what they have currently in their country. And in order to make it safe and not break any securities laws, you cannot offer an interest. It's simple as that. And so to me, of course, now everyone and their sisters are trying to launch stable coins and call it stable coins because they of course is cool. But a stable coin has to be compared with money. Shouldn't be compared to an investment product.
And we'll leave it there.
Thank you, Frank.
Strong, powerful ending. Thank you so much. Appreciate you taking the time to join the program. Congrats on everything.
Always a pleasure.
I like your background. You're in Bahrain, you said, or Bhutan.
Bhutan. I mean, it's an incredible country. It's a beautiful country. 700,000 people. They're actually, it's growing fairly well. I'm impressed. The central bank is looking at how to digitalize their money, how to make it on a public blockchain, also to make it more accessible also outside, because when you send remittances home, you might want, if you have someone working in Australia, you want to have this person maybe buying their digital currency of Bhutan from Australia, from an exchange in Australia, and send it back home, right? So we are we are advising, but we are really early stages, so that we just came and visit.
Amazing. That's super cool. Thanks for coming on.